Hello and welcome to the In Tune podcast, where we discuss the music that makes us mindful. Today, I have an artist here with me. She's a phenomenal songwriter, and she has just won the best single, best folk Americana single this past year. And she also just dropped this Friday her new song, Say So, for everyone to hear, all platforms. Go check it out. This is Carlyle Griffin.
I am forever changing. I don't mind rearranging. You've got to crawl before you walk. Routines I never bother, 'cause my mind can change by the hour, and I can live without a clock.
How are you today?
Don't you worry.
Better than yesterday.
You know what? Every day should be better than yesterday.
That's what I
but-
think too.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Any specific reason why? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no. Well, my mom's in town this weekend, and it's always, a
Yeah.
party when she's here. So
Mama's the bad influence.
she got the best of me. Yeah, it was just, yesterday was a tough day. Not gonna lie.
No, it's okay. Well, you were doing a lot of celebrating with your new song coming out. It
Yes.
is so good.
Thank you.
I just, everything you have put out so far, it's just been such an amazing listen, and I play it on repeat. So it's definitely
Good, that
something.
makes me feel good.
Yeah. That's why we do it, right?
Right? Yeah. No. I mean, it's always exciting, getting to put new stuff out because it's been a dream of mine for so long, and now I'm
Yeah.
actually doing it. I
Yeah.
have my songs on just some of my playlists, and it's always weird to see myself
Totally.
on shuffle when it comes
Yeah.
up, and I have to double take
Yeah.
that's my face.
I always get
did that
so
happen?
excited. I get so excited because I have I put all my friends on my playlists, and you're one of them, and every single time it comes on, it's just in my head it doesn't even register anymore because it's just a part of the playlist, and
Right.
you guys already are
Right.
so
Yeah.
then I'm just oh my gosh, my friends are stars.
Yeah. No, it's so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to put some more stuff out and do
Yeah.
a couple different things. So we'll see.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Well, I look forward to hearing all of that, and we'll get to that later of how everybody can find everything.
Yeah,
and 'cause
absolutely.
the people need to know.
Of course.
So basically, I brought you here because I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the songs that have basically created you, the songs that stop you in your tracks when you're doing anything from your past. So something nostalgic, it could be love, it could be heartbreak, it could be something that reminds you of your mom.
Yeah.
Literally anything that just really makes you feel something. What would you say is the first one
Yeah,
that you
of
would like
course.
to really talk about?
So this, I was really excited when you asked me to come do this.
Yes!
Because talking about music that makes me nostalgic is my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
But the first song that came to mind when I was thinking about it is this song. It's called Miss Grace by the Tymes. It's an old beach music song.
Okay.
So-
I didn't know we were going this way.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So I grew up on the coast of South Carolina. I'm from Walterboro, South Carolina. And if you don't know, South Carolina has a state dance called the Carolina Shag. And it's
I was just going to say, oh my God, the shag.
Yeah.
And people think I'm crazy when I talk about it
Mhm.
because my parents, that's where they honeymooned. That's where we always went on vacation.
Yeah.
So I thought everybody knew what that was. And then I would talk about it and people would be like, wait, what?
Right. Yeah. You say that sometimes and they're like, you do what?
You say you do what in
You
South
do
Carolina?
what? 'Cause I mean, yeah, I'm sure they do that too, but that's not what I'm talking about. But it was a huge part of my childhood because both of my parents are really good shag dancers. My mom, when she was in high school, competed. My mom and my uncle competed in shag competitions and that kind of stuff. So it was a huge part of my childhood growing up. We were always at the beach on vacation in the summers. And I think there's a video of me at 2 or 3 just butt ass naked dancing on the porch to, that kind of stuff. And that one in particular, I remember when I was a kid, riding around with my dad in the car, and he would always say that was my song because my middle name is Grace.
Oh.
So he always dedicated that song. He always told me it was mine. So anytime I hear that song, I just kind of get transported back to that,
I love that.
time in my childhood. It's always such a fond memory of mine, and it's something we still do. Now, and my sister and I, we put together a little playlist. So I think it's called sunset on the porch at the beach. And it's all just all that kind of stuff. The Tymes, the Four Tops, the Temptations, like
Oh my
all that
God.
sort of beach music stuff in one place. Because it is such a feeling. And any song from that genre, really, I can put on and I'm no longer in a bad mood. Like I can't be. Because I just think about all those good times, family and friends, and like I
Yeah.
get transported back to that place. And I can close my eyes and I can hear the ocean and just feel the sun and feel like, you know, I'm having a cold beer on the beach with my friends. It's great.
I love how specific too that playlist title is. My sister
is.
and I do that a
Yeah.
lot. Mainly my sister, she comes up with like some crazy playlists,
Mhm.
but they're very specific, like the summer that my heart got ripped in half, like things
Right.
like that. And like they're public, so everybody can go listen to
Mhm.
them. But like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love like when things are so specific, like sunset on the porch
Mhm.
at the beach.
Yeah, no, because that is exactly where you go
Yeah.
when you listen to that, or at least I do.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
so special.
Yeah, it's really fun. So that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. I love that,
Um,
like, it had something to do with your name, too. Like, I love
Yeah.
that your dad said that. And
Yeah.
that's so sweet. Yeah, my dad sang, like, what was it? Like, some song from Kiss. Oh, Beth. And I was like, why? And
Mhm.
why did you sing that? Because that's, like, one that brings me back. And I'm like, did you date somebody named? And he
Yeah.
was like, no, like, I just couldn't remember the lyrics to any other song.
Oh, that's sweet.
But it ended up being like a part of that. So I
Mhm.
totally get, like, it's nice that your name was in it.
Right. Yeah, that makes it
Yeah.
a little bit easier to remember. But I've always said too is like if I were to ever get married, if huge question mark,
Huge if.
that would be our like first dance,
I love
father-daughter
that.
dance.
That's
Just
so
because that one's like
nice.
it's so special to me because of him. Um, I've always just pictured that
Yeah.
in my head. Not that I don't know if it'll ever happen. But we're a little ways off from that. I'm really not too worried about it right now. But it's just like the idea of it, you know, it just in my head makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I
I feel
don't
like
know.
I'm
See,
like
see if we get there or not. I don't know.
It's okay. You know what? We're all in the same boat these days.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense to me anymore? I don't know. I'm open.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You never really know.
No.
I-
Yeah. I think like taking the pressure off with that situation too has helped me a lot to be
Right.
like, okay, listen, I'm just not like, if it is and if it isn't, that's
Mhm.
fine. But I think so many females put like
Oh yeah.
so much pressure on themselves,
Mhm.
like from society, that they start feeling like,
Oh, there is a ton of pressure.
like they have
especially,
to.
Yeah, especially like growing up in the South. That is
Yeah.
such a huge thing. Because I would say like most of the people that I graduated high school with are either married now or have children or have already been divorced, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
And
And you're
it's
like
just-
a
it's
good bit
crazy.
younger than me
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
so I'm like, oh.
yeah, I just turned 24
Oh my
in
gosh.
March. I'm a baby.
Happy belated.
Thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, that definitely is, and it's changing. It's not so much the way that it used to be, but like my grandparents got married at 21.
Yeah.
My mom was 23 when she got married.
Yeah.
So it is something that you feel like you have to
Yeah.
do to a certain point, but times have changed a little bit, and I think women are starting to be a lot more independent and
Yeah.
wanting to chase their dreams before they settle down and start
Yeah.
a family, and I love that because that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm doing right now.
I
So,
think it's smarter too in the end. Like you
Mhm.
can look at, because I think a lot of people have kids and they don't even know that they do or don't want to have kids
Oh,
or
yeah.
do or don't want to be in a marriage.
Right.
And I think it's something that it's smart to just take a step back and
Mhm.
always just like take a look, because in my mind, I grew up being like, okay, I'm definitely going to have kids. Like that's just what is going to happen.
yeah.
And then as I get older, I'm like, I don't know. I
Maybe.
love kids,
Mhm.
but the sleepless nights sounded not so
Not so
great
good.
for me.
I
I know
know.
what I'm like when I don't get sleep.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because when I was in high school, I always thought like, oh, I'll go to college. Like I'll find somebody, a college sweetheart, whatever. We'll graduate, we'll get married. I'll start
Yeah.
popping out kids. But when you're 14, 15, 21 seems like they should have it together.
Right.
And then I turned 21 and I'm like, what the is
Yeah.
going on?
You're like, they did not have it together.
They didn't know. What is this? I'm an adult? Are you,
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah. No.
Like, I don't think that's right.
No. It's like,
I just don't. I don't know. And I think we live too long now to get married at 25.
that's actually such a smart comment, honestly. And when you start thinking about it, it's true. Like, we go through a much longer life these days, so it's not, and also people are having kids later because we have the ability to be healthier for longer as well. Exactly. So I think that's definitely something to consider and to think about, and now you can like freeze your eggs and stuff like that. And so it's definitely an interesting topic of conversation that we got to.
Yeah, that was the segue, wasn't it?
I liked it. I love a good segue, and I'm here for it. Any segue we want. But yeah, I think that's it's empowering to have those options, and I think that more people, and especially one of the reasons I wanted to even start this podcast is so that people can see strong individuals making choices for themselves that are maybe a little bit off the beaten path, and know that it's normal to be thinking the thoughts that we're all thinking, that maybe a lot of the times like artists and mindfulness coaches and people like that are like more open to speaking about and living that life, and just making it a little bit more commonplace. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think you really have to realize that it's your life you're living. Like, you can't make decisions because your parents feel like you should be doing this, or your friends are doing something else, and like, you can't base your life off of someone else's decisions or desires. Like, it's yours,
right?
So if you're unhappy, you're the only person who can change it.
Yeah,
really. Not to say that you shouldn't take, your loved one's opinions into account when you're making decisions, but when it comes down to it, it's your life.
Yeah.
So if you're not happy with it, then nobody's going to come in and fix it for you. You got to do what's going to make your heart sing, not somebody else's.
Ugh. Preach to the people.
Anyway, that's my philosophy.
Can I get an amen?
That's my philosophy. Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Cheers. Sips coffee.
Yeah. But I would definitely say that's one. And that sort of beach music genre in general is just a pot of nostalgia for me, and I love it. I come back to it all the time if I'm ever in a bad mood or just want to dance around the kitchen or whatever. Like, that's what I put on.
I love that.
So yeah, that's one. And sort of going in chronological order as I got older. The next one, I'm gonna have to tell on myself a little bit to explain why
I love this.
Why this song means something to me. So I think I was like 15 or 16, and I had just gotten my driver's license. I can't remember if it was like my restricted license or it was the full one, because in South Carolina, once you have your permit for like 6 months, you can drive at certain times in the day by yourself.
The South.
It makes you feel very grown up. I mean, I was already driving way earlier than that, but that's, different story. But we were, I can't remember if we were like at somebody's lake house or pond house or what. I don't know where we were. We were somewhere not at home. And in one of the back rooms of this house, there was like a basket of CDs. And so the truck that I ended up in, I had a different car. I had a Jeep. It was my first car. I wrecked it 2 weeks after I got it.
No.
Yeah, I'm still really upset about that. I miss it so much. I think we
Jeeps
could have had a lot of fun together, but alas, our time was good. Just wasn't long enough.
What was her or his name?
Queenie.
She
was a 95 Jeep Wrangler, olive green, tan interior.
Olive green.
5-speed. She was beautiful. I did not take good care of her. But anyway,
when you're that young, you don't know how to take care of things.
No, you don't really. And so I ended up in a 2004 GMC Canyon that I affectionately named the Grand Canyon. It was a small pickup truck. It was my granddad's pickup truck. And it did not have like a Bluetooth thing in it or whatever. And so I really could only use a CD player because I could never find a radio station that would, play like it was supposed to play. So anyway, there was this basket of CDs in the back room, and I was flipping through, just looking around, seeing what I might play. And there was a burnt disc, not like the actual one you would buy in the store, but somebody had burnt the entire Tusk album by Fleetwood Mac onto the CD. And I was just starting to get into that, just genre in general. I was listening to a lot of like 70s mellow rock and soft rock and yacht rock. all of which I still love.
Rock. So good.
But I just started to get into my like Fleetwood Mac phase, which now they're one of my like all-time favorite bands. But I was like, this looks interesting, and I just slipped it in my bag and took it home with me. And for months, that was all I listened to. And Tusk is a double album, so there's a lot of stuff on there.
There's a lot to listen.
There's a lot of stuff on there, but one song in particular, it's Storms by Fleetwood Mac. It's on that album. It's one that Stevie Nicks wrote, and it's very simple. It's not, I think it's just her and the acoustic guitar. There might be some other like small percussion elements in it, but it's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
It's just her
Stripped
and the music.
down.
Yeah, it's pretty stripped down. And I don't know if it was because I was angsty or what, but at that point in my life, I felt very out of place. Always. And misunderstood, for lack of a better word. Because when I was in high school, I don't know, I was never one of those girls who like had a certain friend group, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had friends.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends, but they were all
Across the board.
I mean, they were across the board, and a lot of my friends were my teachers. And so
I can sense that about you. I feel like you hang with like people who are older than you, and you like definitely like have that wisdom. Like we were at your show the other day, and my sister was like, I love this music so much, and I was like, she is like, to me, the definition of an old soul.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
across the board.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, even in high school, I think a lot of my friends were older. Like when I was a freshman, I had a lot of friends that were seniors, and
Yeah.
that was always just kind of my thing. But to be 15 or 16 and feel like you already know a lot of this stuff, not that you really do, but like you feel like you know a lot. And I was just always kind of bouncing around from one group to another, and I never really felt like I had a home in that. So it was just kind of me and then everybody else.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I continued to feel that way up and through college and even now sometimes, but now I figured out how to deal with it a little bit better. But for some reason, that song, when I heard it the first time, I'm trying to think what the last like lyric line is. I think it's, so I'd like to say goodbye, my friend, to leave you with something warm. Never have I been a blue calm sea, I've always been a storm.
That's beautiful.
Right?
And I don't think I caught that in the song.
Yeah. It's the last little section right before it kind of segues out. But something about that, I was just like, oh.
You're like, this hit me.
Like, I feel
She's
that.
talking about me.
I feel that to my core. The whole thing, really. And in that song, it's changed the meaning of it throughout my life as I've grown up and I've, had relationships and I've had heartbreaks and all that sort of stuff. Because it talks a lot about that too. But it's always been kind of an all-encompassing thing. When I hear that song, I can just kind of close my eyes and sit in whatever feeling it is that I have. And I feel heard.
Yeah.
So that's always been one of my favorite ones. That one's gotten me through a lot of things.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie does that for people. There's like something so magic about her, and
It's insane.
it's like she's carrying like so much for everybody, honestly. Like her words are so personal, and I feel like it hits so many people. And the more I'm doing this, the more I'm realizing she gets brought up so much, and it's for a reason.
Yeah.
Very clearly, but I love her so much, so it also is very nostalgic for me and for my mom, and so like I love when she is like the person somebody's talking about, and I love to hear that it's so universal.
It is, yeah, which is interesting because she is such a personal songwriter.
Yes,
like she really writes from the core, and she writes poetry. Like it's not just some other pop song that you're gonna hear on the radio. But I think, for artists, I would think, like me, she was such a pioneer for women in that sort of genre.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few that you hear about that you would call the queen of rock and roll. Right. And she gets that title, like, all the time.
Yeah.
As she should.
As she should.
But she was definitely one of those first for me. And I remember, so I saw Fleetwood Mac in, I think, like, 2014.
Okay.
And it was the original California lineup. Because a lot of people don't know also that Fleetwood Mac was a blues band in the 60s in London.
I don't think I knew that.
There was a totally different lineup. I can't remember all of them. Mick Fleetwood, the drummer, and John McVie, the bass player, are the only two original members from when Fleetwood Mac started.
Oh my gosh.
But then there was Peter Green, who did a lot of like he wrote Black Magic Woman, Oh Well. I don't know if he wrote them, but he was,
In the room.
he was part of the band at that point that made those kind of songs like Albatross and they had like Bob Welch and a couple other people, and then Christine McVie joined from another band called Chicken Shack, and she married John McVie. And then they came over here in the 70s because I think that they were just kind of running a little. They just knew that was the next move for them. And Stevie wasn't originally who they sought out for the band. It was Lindsay to play guitar.
Yeah.
But Lindsay said, well, because they were Buckingham Nicks, a duo at that point. Lindsay said, I'm not going to join the band unless you invite her to, unless she comes with me.
My goodness.
So they made Christine make the decision because she at the time was the only female in the band. And they all went to like this Mexican restaurant and had dinner and talked, and that was it. History was made.
That's so cool that you know all of that. And okay, also just if you ever need to like cash something out, always take them to a Mexican restaurant.
I mean,
always.
Everything gets fixed
at the Mexican restaurant.
But
if I'm in a bad mood, I go to the Mexican restaurant.
Come on. Margaritas, chips and salsa. Chips and salsa is like my favorite thing on the planet. I can't even, once I start, I can't stop. It's like a problem.
Okay, same. And okay, I have to tell myself a little bit right now too. Okay, so my mom's gonna lose her mind when I say this, but okay. So I was living in LA when I was like 22, and I had been staying with this roommate, and it just got to be too much, and I just took all my stuff, which wasn't a lot because I moved there with a suitcase, and I was like, I'm out, and I literally had no idea where I was gonna go. My one friend was like, you can couch surf, so I was basically living out of my car for like 6 months and just like couch surfing on my friends' couches. I'm so sorry, Mom. But
it's okay. You're fine now.
Like, I know, exactly. I had to tell them. I didn't tell them until like 6-7 years later because they would have come and got me. Like, it would not have been an option.
For sure. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do this by myself. But there was a huge long-running joke between all of my friends, and they even got it for me for Christmas, was like a Costco giant-sized bag of chips and salsa, because I was literally living off of chips and salsa for months. Yeah. Like, I was not eating anything else because I couldn't afford it.
I mean, that's fair. And if you're not going to eat anything else, that's not a bad choice.
But it's the only thing I think I could have eten that much and still
wanted.
Love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think I've ever been like, I don't think I want any.
No.
Never. That has never ever come out of my mouth.
No, it's never gonna happen. And if I'm going there, I just already know that I'm gonna feel a little horrible later.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have to be hungry to do that. Oh yeah, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I live in a Mexican restaurant, like the world is mine.
Yes, I love a good Mexican restaurant. It's my favorite thing.
Okay, so like, thank you, Fleetwood Mac, for going to the Mexican restaurant.
Right. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Also, can we talk about? Have you heard anything from the band Chicken Shack? Like, were you like, I need to know what that sounded like?
I don't know if I ever have. I feel like I probably have, but I can't remember specifically.
I feel like that's the first thing I'm gonna do when I'm.
You should. I do have I have one of Christine McVie's solo albums on vinyl, and I have almost all of the Fleetwood Mac discography. Like everything. I'm only like 3 or 4 albums short, I think, at this point.
Oh my god.
I've been on a journey, but I remember seeing them. It was in Fort Lauderdale. I got the tickets for Christmas to go, and it was Stevie, Lindsay, Christine, Mick, and John. And I don't think after that tour they ever all toured again together, and they won't now because Christine McVie passed away.
Yeah, that was a rough loss.
Oh yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen when I'm not even gonna talk about it.
No,
I'm not even gonna talk about it. But the whole thing was an experience. And I remember we were sitting in these nosebleed seats, but the way they were situated, you could see backstage and the front of the stage.
Yeah.
And my poor sister, she was sitting next to me, and I saw them getting ready to walk up, and I saw Stevie Nicks, like walking up onto the stage about to come out, and I grabbed her arm so hard it bruised because I was just like, oh my god, there she is, that's her, the Stevie Nicks. And I don't get super excited about a lot of things, but I lost my fucking mind that night.
I would have too.
Lost it.
I will tell you, there's only one time ever that I have been at that level of starstruck, and it was one of the best moments in my life. And it was on that level. I went to Piano Bar, I think, when it was still in LA, and a friend of mine was playing, but there was a band on at that moment, like a different band, and there was like no one in there except for this other group of people. And I turn, and it's Bette Midler.
Oh my god.
Drinking a coffee in a bar.
I would have lost my mind too.
And I was like,
what?
What do I do? And like never, I'm not, because I've been doing music for so long, you understand I'm not going to run up to anyone ever.
No.
Like, I'm not going to bug them. We're all just human beings. Like, but I could not contain myself, and something like, it was like an out of body experience, because something like in me jumped out and was just like, hi,
hello,
I love you. And she was so beautiful and sweet, and was just like, hi, how are you? And I was just like, I just have to let you know, like wind beneath my wings, and everything that you've ever done, plus also, you know, all of the Hocus Pocus soundtrack.
Yeah, all of that too.
Everything, even that. And I was just like, and she gave me a hug, and I just like stood there.
I don't think I would have known what to do with myself.
And still to this day, sometimes I'm like, did that really happen? And then the people I was there with, and they were like, yeah, girl, that happened. Like you did that. You went and you did that. And
you
I
did
was
that
like,
thing.
I don't regret it.
No,
So
First
good.
Wives Club is like one of my favorite movies.
It's so good.
I love that movie. So the whole cast is great, but I love Bette Midler.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I saw them, and she was getting ready to do Gypsy.
Oh,
Which is another one of my
that one.
all-time favorite songs.
Anything that's a little bit like extra weird that she does, that like hits me in a part of my soul that like no other songs can.
Yeah, that song really is one of my all-time favorites. But she was like talking about when she wrote the song, and I'm probably gonna butcher this, but I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I don't even know if they had joined Fleetwood Mac yet, but her and Lindsay were living in LA. She would pull her mattress off the bed onto the floor whenever she just needed to like think or get some things together. And she talked about going into this like vintage shop in LA, like a really nice one, I think in the Valley somewhere. And of course they didn't have any money yet, you know. I think she was still waitressing or something. And she was like, you know, one day when I'm successful, when this has happened for me, I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna buy whatever I want. And of course, when she was talking about it, it was a much more inspiring a way of telling that story. But the moral of it was, you know, never stop trying. Yeah. If that's something you really want, then go do it. Don't let anything get in your way. Yeah. And then she went into Gypsy, and I was just like,
just
crying.
Tears.
And I don't cry ever. It was weird. But I just remember that so much from that show, and leaving there feeling like, yeah, I'm never going to do anything but music. I mean, I might do some other things in the meantime.
Like, have you ever felt so inspired that you feel like you can't do anything? You're frozen. Yeah. I think every artist feels that, though, at a certain point, like where I've left concerts and been like, I don't know where to start. I don't even know where I am. Like, there's something so about it. It really is like it transforms your entire being. Mm-hmm. I think like I've gone to concerts and been like, this Alison is no longer a part of of me anymore. And like, and it's crazy because when you have those moments, like, and then you still keep pushing through, I think that's what really says a lot about you. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love going to concerts because I always leave there feeling so inspired by just watching other people perform and doing something that I love that you can tell they absolutely do too. so that's something I've always loved, which is actually a good segue into the next one I was going to talk about, because this was another sort of concert experience for me. We were on a family vacation in New Orleans. I think, coming out of my freshman year of college when we went. It's the first time I'd ever been there, which I adore New Orleans. I want to go back so bad.
I still haven't been, and it's like, it makes me angry.
Yeah.
I need to make a trip.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I kept a journal that week, or however long we were there, of every single meal that I had and exactly what I ordered. Because if you are a person who likes food, you like music, you like culture, you gotta go. Because I think it gets a bad rap. I mean, it's like Nashville, you know, people come to Nashville and they're like, oh, Broadway's like so dirty and loud and gross and whatever. And people say the same thing about Bourbon Street.
Right.
And I'm like,
people
listen,
still come because
they
it's culture.
do, but that's not the only thing that the city has to offer.
Right.
You know, Nashville's the same way. It's more than just Broadway. But there's so many.
I really do try to tell people that.
I do too. Every time they ask me where
I'm
to go.
kind of like, stay on Broadway.
I know. I kind of want to. I like equally want them to experience it and want them to never see it. So they will just.
Well, the people that end up seeing it, I realize, stay for good, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, we gotta
just go to Broadway.
Yeah, but we went to New Orleans, and my dad is a huge Alison Krauss fan.
Okay.
Loves.
That is my favorite artist of all time,
her.
so I am here for this.
Okay.
On so many
all right,
levels.
then you're gonna really appreciate this then. Loves Alison Krauss. So when he was planning this trip, he saw that she was gonna be in New Orleans. She was playing at I think it's the Segner Theater on Canal Street, which is a beautiful, beautiful theater. They redid the whole thing after Katrina because it got damaged from the hurricane, but they restored it back to its like former. I think it was open in 1927.
Oh my goodness,
something like that. It was, I mean, really grand. Just
when I think Alison Krauss, like I can't see her performing in a theater that's not equally beautiful.
Oh my god,
that makes sense?
I mean, and this was the place for her to be, because when you walk in there, everything on the walls is just so like ornate, and the ceiling is painted like the star. It looks like you're outside.
Okay, I need this experience.
Yeah, it was really the whole thing. I walked into that theater and I was like, oh my god, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so I knew some of her stuff just from growing up listening to my dad play things, but I hadn't really jumped in deep into what she was doing. I was just kind of like, well, we'll go, you know, I love a concert, whatever. And she came out on stage, did a couple songs. Her stage banter is incredible. She's so funny. But she did this one song. It's called Ghost in This House.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the air got sucked out of the theater. Like, I don't even remember breathing for that entire, it was 4 minutes that she was singing that song. I was just mesmerized by the whole thing. And all I could think to myself was, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. Like, so bad I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't anything crazy. There weren't any big lights. It was just her in the middle of the stage, just belting it out, singing the song. And
yeah,
I don't know. There's something about the simplicity of it and just the way that she drew you in.
I think it's a mixture of her breath control, the notes that she chooses, and then her soul. Like, you can't replicate it. And I will tell you, like, when I tell you like a lot, like how you feel with like Stevie Nicks, I feel full blown like Alison Krauss all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, since I was young. Because my dad also used to listen to her, but it was more like When You Say Nothing at All and like, you know, things like that. And I remember getting really into, in like middle school or something, Lonely Runs Both Ways album with Union Station. Oh, yeah. And everyone was listening to like their pop music. And it's funny that I'm a pop writer now, but like there's still something so in me that it's like this folk like artist
totally.
Because of her. And any harmony that I have ever used in my life has been because of her. Like, and because of Union Station. So like when I listen to them and talking about like the air being sucked out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like, and like, it actually hurts my heart that I haven't gone to see her yet, because I think it's because I know that I'm not going to be okay.
You won't.
And so
You're
I'm
not.
like, when I think about
You're not.
like ordering like tickets, I'm like, I would need like, I feel like I would need like a full week to recover from
Yeah,
this.
it was something else. I would love to go see her again, because that was a couple years ago. But yeah, it was the whole experience, and it was also combined with the fact that I think on that trip, like I said, it was the summer after my freshman year of college. So I was back home, and my dad and I were just, I mean, we never really fought, but we were just back and forth. I was working at the beach. It was like 45 minutes away, so I was gone a lot, and
Yeah.
we just, I mean, back and forth all the time. We were having a really, really hard time that summer, I think, because like I had this newfound freedom of being away at school, and to him, I'm still, you know, his
Yeah.
baby, and he just doesn't understand why I want to be out of the house and go run around doing things all the time and not hanging
Why
out.
don't you want to hang out with me?
Yeah, and so that trip was so wonderful for the two of us, because he and I really, like, we have a lot of the same tastes in music. We love food, love trying new things, and just
Yeah.
like going out and around. And so that whole trip after that concert was just good for us,
Yeah.
because we kind of got to bond over that. We got to bond over all the places that we were going and trying, and it was just, that whole trip was really good. So I look back on that fondly, just because it had so many elements that kind of helped move me forward after that, and us as well.
That's so great.
Mhm.
It's like, I think there's something really special to have like that relationship with your dad. And I don't feel like a ton of people really work on that anymore, and to like really actually care to like put in the time and effort to do those things. But I think it's really special that you share the music with him, and that was something that touched both of you.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And like, I'm really close with both of my parents. They're both so supportive of me, and spend a lot of time making sure that I was getting done what I needed to do to make this music thing happen for me, because they both really believe in it. So that's my relationship with both of my parents is something that I treasure and like to take care of, because we're all so close as a family.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, that trip.
That's
You
amazing.
guys did a lot of cool things. Yeah.
Those are great songs. Like, honestly, I'm so touched that you picked like the ones that you did, because I feel like there are so many songs that could be like, when I went through my own list of like, oh, okay, like I should know what mine are, you know? And then like the list is just so stupid long. I could never even
know.
But like there's the ones that are like super fun, and I get a lot of those, and those are going to be a good time. Like, you know, I want somebody so badly to come in and be like, yeah, Usher. But like, you know? Yeah. But like at the same time, like those are the songs that like hit my heart as well. So I felt like, I feel like we can both be old souls at some points. And like, I feel like when I was in middle school and listening to those same songs, like that is something that I feel like you and I would have in common.
Oh, for sure. The stuff I was listening to in high school, no one got it. No one, even into college, no one ever let me have the aux when we were at a party.
Right.
So they're like, you are going to bring the mood so far down. I'm going to be like dancing over in the corner to 2 Tickets to Paradise by Eddie Money, and everybody's going to be looking at me like I'm fucking crazy.
Yes.
Because I just don't I've never been a huge fan of rap music. And that was like such a huge thing when I was in college, is all that sort of like trap, like Mo Bamba. And I do love the song Doses and Mimosas. That's a jam.
Okay.
But
like we have this, we're the same person.
Yeah.
I literally will rage to that song. And then there's a place here, and I don't want to shout it out, but I'm going to anyways. And the only reason I don't want to shout it out is because I don't want more people going there.
Right.
However, they deserve it. So Mother's Ruin in Germantown here. Oh my God. So back like just right after COVID, like when it wasn't that busy, my friends, like my full group of friends, would just go in there and it wouldn't be that busy.
Yeah.
And Doses and Mimosas would play. And I remember the first time that I heard it in there, because no one plays that song over the loudspeaker.
It's such a good one though.
And it happened,
love it.
and I only had one other friend who knew it. And we both, like, across the bar looked at each other and were like, oh shit, it's going down.
Going down.
And then they started like throwing, like they do this thing where they like throw the lights and then they like start throwing napkins just
Right.
because, and they were doing that to doses and mimosas, and I was like, this is my
Yes,
place.
I'm in the place.
But now it's just like crazy packed because it's obviously cool and everybody likes
really
it.
cool. Yeah, I do like that place.
Yeah, but that
yeah.
song is
Oh, it is a good one. It is a good one. But yeah, otherwise, I was never allowed because I just wanted to listen to like my oldies soundtrack
Yeah.
and like I don't know, rap music never did it for me. When I was like
Yeah.
trying to get geared up to go out, it just made me like mad, in like not a good way. I don't know.
you.
I just couldn't. Never got onto it really.
I
Still
feel like
haven't.
I have to be in like the right place.
I do. Yeah, I do like some like 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
Like Little Notorious B.I.G. I can get down with
Totally.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big Pop Up.
Again,
Love that
old
song.
school. You like rap, just
Yeah,
old school.
right. And like my sister and I, we always do on family vacation. We'll go back and forth on verses of Rapper's Delight.
Yes.
That's always a good time too. It's either that or we play
Yeah.
out the whole song of Bohemian Rhapsody. We'll do that too.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I would say probably honorable mentions for nostalgic songs. Two Tickets to Paradise is one of them. When I was thinking about it, there is a Joni Mitchell song called "Car on a Hill."
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. It's on the Court and Spark album, which is another one of my favorite albums. I went through a huge Joni Mitchell phase.
Yeah.
Not that long ago, and I'm still kind of in it.
I can sense that in like
Yeah.
your music a little bit too.
Yeah.
Just like little bits here and there. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay.
Well, I found her a little bit later on, probably somewhere around my senior year of college, and just dove in head
Yeah.
first because I loved the way that she wrote, and I loved I think a lot of the way that I play guitar is because of a lot of her stuff, and I've started to kind of mess around with some of the alternate tunings because she did a lot of alternate tuning stuff, and she had polio as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
And she never fully recovered strength in her left side. So the reason why she would mess with all the alternate tunings on the guitar is so that she could play something and really only have to use one finger up and down the fretboard because she didn't have a whole lot of strength in this hand, in her fretting hand.
Okay. I had no idea, first of all. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, like talk about somebody who did not give up on something that they loved because of something bad that had happened. Like,
yeah.
because I don't know guitar, like I'll play a little bit here and there, but I don't know that that's like really 100% my thing. I'm always just kind of like nervous to play guitar in front of people, but there's no way in the world that I would have been like, I can't play, so let me figure out how to. Like,
Right.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, she was also a great inspiration just because she was so resilient
Yeah.
in her entire career. Because she also, when she was just starting, she's from Canada, and I can't remember what her hometown is. I think it was a smaller little farming town, but she moved to, I don't know, like Ontario or Toronto, or she moved somewhere to do music, but then got pregnant at the same time and was living in this like hotel and had the baby, gave her up for adoption, which is what the song Little Green is about on the Blue album. But through all of that, I mean, she was alone and pregnant and scared and young, and like still would go to the coffee shop and like 8 months pregnant and play her songs on stage. And
Oh my
she
God.
just, she kept going because that was what, she felt inside that she needed to be doing.
Yeah.
And that song "Car on a Hill" is about getting stood up for a date. But the way that she frames it is just, I don't know, I think it's genius the way that she does that. The whole song is just, that whole album really is wonderful, but I love that song so much.
Yeah.
The other one is "Honeysuckle Blue" by Drivin' and Cryin'.
I've never heard that one. And
So
now I need to.
yeah, I put that song on, I feel like I could run through a brick wall. It's incredible. Drivin' and Cryin' is a band. They were like, I think late 80s, early 90s from Georgia. And I think probably a song you might know is "Straight to Hell."
I don't think I do. I don't think I know them. And now
Okay.
I like must. That's why I also love doing
Yeah.
this, is because like I get a whole new like group of songs to listen to every
Mhm.
week that I've like not even ever heard of.
Yeah, so that one was another product of my father's musical taste. 'Cause he told me the story of when he was in college. I went to Clemson, he went to Clemson, my sister went to Clemson,
Clemson fam.
We are a Clemson fan. Go Tigers. But he and his buddy Ted Felder, they were in Clemson, and I don't know if they were underage or what the deal was, but they were sneaking into this Driving and Crying concert at the Armory. They got kicked out 3 separate times from that concert. And that he loved that. He loved Straight to Hell. Driving and Crying was one of his favorites. So I got to listen to a little bit of them, and they are I grew really fond of them. I've seen them at the Windjammer in Isle of Palms a couple times, and they're just, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it so much. I don't even know what it is. I guess it's like Southern rock.
Okay,
but
I was just gonna ask him, like, I don't even know, like, what that would sound like.
I don't know.
In my brain.
I don't really know. But
I'm
it
excited.
was, yeah, no, it's good.
Okay,
it's good. I don't think a lot of people know about them. They were smaller. I think they were like regionally really popular in kind of the Carolinas and Georgia and stuff like that. I don't know a ton about their history, but really big fan.
That's amazing.
Really big fan.
I love that so much. So I do my last like 3 questions, and you basically already answered it,
okay.
unless you have like not the other 2, but like this one. But it's like a kind of a perfect segue of who is somebody or a song or an artist that you feel like more people need to hear about.
Yeah, I do love Driving and Crying, and I think they're criminally underrated. I don't know. That's a tough question. I think. I will say one of the newer artists that I've been listening to and really, really loving, and I don't know if she's pretty well known, I think, but a lot of people that I talk to haven't heard of her stuff.
More people need to
and
know.
They should. It's Madison Cunningham.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't.
So good.
What is her genre?
She actually just won a Grammy for Best Folk Album, I think, last year. For the Revealer album that she just put out. But she's one of those who, I think Joni Mitchell's a huge influence on her. She's an incredible guitar player, incredible songwriter. She's a lot like me. She writes pretty much by herself and like does her own sort of thing, and just a really, really talented musician and vocalist and songwriter. She's absolutely a triple threat. But I think she's incredible, and I think she's only like 26 or 27. Like she's young, but she's from California, grew up in like kind of a religious family. She's the oldest, I think, of 5 daughters.
That's a lot.
And she, when she graduated high school, she ended up not going to college. She started to pursue the music thing, and her first producer, I can't remember what his name is, so that's not really helpful, but he was kind of like her mentor through all that, and she started to do a bunch of different sort of shows and things, and developing her aura, as an artist, and has come up from there, and now she's a Grammy-winning and nominated songwriter and artist. And
I really love to see that, like especially for females, like it's just female guitar players. First of all, we need to see more of that.
Absolutely,
and
I totally agree.
I love that about you, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know that I knew like the extent of your guitar playing until the other night, and I saw you. I was like, oh. She's going for it, and I was like, "Yes, girl!" Like,
I've been trying. So when I was at Clemson, I ended up taking jazz guitar lessons on accident. I was a music minor, and to fulfill that minor, you had to have 4 semesters of a private lesson in some sort of discipline. And so I took voice lessons for 3 semesters, and then my vocal coach got promoted to like a senior professor position and couldn't teach me anymore because she couldn't teach music minors, only the majors.
Right.
And it's like, oh, I'm almost done. Like, I've been playing guitar since I was 13. But I knew the basics, but nothing crazy. And it's like, oh, this could be fun. I've always wanted to learn a little bit more about the guitar and things. And so there was a jazz guitar lesson available, and I took it, and at the end of the semester, I was doing my schedule for the next semester, and I was like, well, shit. I didn't know I was supposed to have 4 of the same thing.
Oh, no.
So I took that 1 semester of jazz guitar lessons, and it kicked all my other credits out, and I had to start over again. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to take 3 more semesters of this.
Stop.
Yeah, but it ended up being like one of those happy accidents, because I had a great professor. His name was Dr. Adam Knight. He was one of the first to explain theory to me in a way that I understood it. Because I'd gone to, sat through a lot of music theory classes. I went to the South Carolina Governor's School for Arts and Humanities for 2 summers when I was in high school to study voice, and we had to do all kinds of music theory lessons, and I took it in college.
Gotta love the sight reading. And
Don't even. I've got PTSD. I don't even want to talk about that.
I see it in my head, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's so bad. But he was one of the first people that really was able to show it to me in a way that I understood what he was talking about. And he taught me kind of the fundamentals of jazz guitar, how it's played, a lot of shell voicings and different scales and the way things fit together. Right. And so I am really thankful that happened, because I think it elevated my songwriting, because it elevated the way I was able to play guitar and branch out from just the few chords and things that I did know.
Right.
And it made me be a little bit more curious about what was possible.
I think jazz does that in general.
It does. Yeah. It really cracks your brain open.
Yeah.
And I developed a love for that, because I got to sing in a jazz ensemble for a little while. I was there too. And I always say, like, if I could be anything in the world, I would like be a 1950s cabaret singer, because I think it's incredible.
100%.
I want to dress up in like really pretty dresses and go out on stage and
really
sing.
that's all I've ever wanted to do, was dress in pretty dresses and sing.
Yeah, no, that's one of my, big dreams. I don't know if that'll ever actually be a thing, but
I'm sure that you will find a way to
I think
that
so.
To work out in some
I hope
form.
that one day that becomes a reality, because I would love to do that.
I think you're headed in any direction you want to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. But so anyway, she's one I definitely would recommend to anybody, because her songs are great. Her songwriting is incredible. It really makes you think about things. What makes me want to be a better songwriter.
Yeah.
So I like to listen to those kind of people that inspire me to do something more.
Yes.
And push me to be better.
Yep. I try to surround myself with those people in general, especially since we live in a city with so many songwriters, and I truly believe that like a lot of the people that I have on here, like including you and some other people that I've had around, that I make it a point to like support and be around and listen to quite often. Like, I just think it's so important to have them make you want to be better.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that. Like, and honestly, I know you said you like mainly write by yourself, so I feel so honored that like I squeaked one in there with you. I did. Like, and so I was actually so surprised when your last single came out that we wrote, and I was like, I didn't ever think she was gonna put any of this out, because she only writes by herself. And like, you don't need to have anybody else on there, but I just had so much fun doing that with you.
No, that was fun.
I was like, oh, okay.
I think every now and then, and I found this with you, that you find people that you click with and you're able to write with well. Yeah. It's difficult for me, and it has been difficult since I've moved here, because co-writing is such a huge thing in Nashville. Yeah. A ton of people do it, and I think it's a great practice. Yeah. But because I don't really write country music, have had a really hard time finding people that I mesh well with and can write good songs with, or things that I like, because it just, I don't know. I don't write in that country pop kind of formula, and so people are looking at me like I got two heads when I suggest that maybe you don't need a bridge. Right.
I have had a lot of I've actually had a little bit of trouble with that as well, because I'm pop mostly, but I went through a lot of, like, I sang country for a long time, so I can kind of be in those rooms,
right?
And understand what needs to be done. But there are a lot of like harmonies. Like I'm like, I love to be like harmony queen if I can. Like, I love to make them weird and dissonant and crunchy. And like, people are like, you can't do that. I'm like, well, you absolutely can. You can choose not to.
Yeah,
but
it's up to you.
I think we should
do
choose
it if you want to
do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much.
I don't like to be told that I can't do something. Yeah. So telling me that I can't do it, I'm probably
like,
going to do it anyway.
You only want the 3 regular notes? Yeah. No, I want 7, and I want them to be weird.
I'm gonna put 6 different chords in here. They're gonna be in 2 different keys, and you're gonna get over it.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. Eventually, you're gonna be like, "Wow, that made the song."
Yeah, exactly. But I've never approached songwriting with the thought process that like, oh, this song's gonna be a hit. Like, everybody's gonna love this. Whatever. I write pretty selfishly. Yeah. I write for myself. I write things that I like to hear that I would want to listen to.
I do think those are the things that are timeless,
Mm-hmm.
though. I know that my sister writes a lot like that as well, where she just writes for what she wants to hear,
Yeah.
and she doesn't care if anybody else ever
Yeah.
hears it. And those are the songs that really need to be heard.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I know I've been in a lot of rooms where I do like have the people around me that are like, we're going to write a hit, but like, it's never a hit. Like, I mean, it
No.
can be like, it sounds like one, but like for me, when somebody says we're going to write a hit, they mean we're going to write something that sounds like something else
Right.
already.
Right.
That was successful.
Yeah. And I think that's hard too, when you put so much pressure on a song to be incredible. And then when it,
And then you're like, I didn't
doesn't-
say everything I needed it to say. And
yeah,
then
it gets really hard to finish it that way, because
Right.
you've put it on this pedestal.
Yep.
And if it doesn't live up to that, then you're just gonna be like, oh, this is shit. Like, I'm never gonna play this, when it could be a really good song.
Yeah.
But now you never know, because
You
don't
can't
wanna,
finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you never think it's good enough
Mhm.
because you had it on the pedestal before it was even done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And music too, I think a lot of people forget, is so subjective. And there are so many people in this world.
Yep.
Your music will find somebody who appreciates
Absolutely.
it. Somebody's gonna like it. It might be 7 people, it might be 700 people, it might be more than that. You never know.
Yeah.
But you can't be afraid to put it out just
Yeah.
because you think people aren't going to like it.
And even if it's just one person
Mhm.
and they felt like you absolutely understood them, like you were talking about before, that you felt heard
Yeah.
for the first time, if you're writing a song that only one person felt heard, that's one person that felt heard.
Oh, that makes it
has
worth it.
never felt heard before.
That makes it
So,
worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
and-
amazing.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
No.
Carlyle.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm just like, put this makeup on and now. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
No,
It wasn't on purpose.
I love it. It makes me so happy. Okay, so we went through all of the songs, or some. I'm sure there are like a million more.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
there's
sure
a
I will
ton.
have you back at some point
Mhm.
if you would love to come
Of course.
back. But basically, I would like to know when you feel you're most authentic.
Ooh, definitely on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My show that I had the other night, and I forget, because I don't play a lot of full band shows here anymore, or here ever really, just
Yeah.
because it's difficult to do. I've played more songwriter rounds and stuff, but when I was in college, I played in a cover band
Mm-hmm.
for the entirety for 4 years, and a little while after that, because we all continued to get together and play shows, and we still do. All of my band guys are in Charleston now, and
Yeah.
so whenever I'm home or around and they're playing, I always try to get up and jam with them, because
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a chance meeting that I got to know all of them. I ran into them at a frat party, like the first one that I went to when I was at Clemson, and it turned out I bugged one of the lead singer, or not, he was a piano player at the time. His name's Austin Fail. He's a good friend of mine. I didn't know him then though, and I was with a friend that night, and they were on a break, and she went over to him and she was like, "My friend can sing really good. You should let her up." And he goes, "Well, she can come over here and sing, but I'm not just gonna let her on stage." And I was, I'd been drinking, so I went over there. I said, "He said what?" I went over there. I said,
You're
"What do you want to
like-
hear?
You're like,
What do you want to
"Let's
hear?"
go."
He goes, "I don't know, just sing me something." And the only thing that came to my head was "At Last" by Etta James,
Yeah.
which is such a weird one, but I sang it, and he goes, "All right, we can probably do that."
Yeah.
And then he texted me a few days later and was like, "By the way, we're like looking for a female singer. If you want to come maybe jam with us and see if that would work out." And
Yeah.
the rest of it was history. All
Yeah.
of our families are really close now, and we hang out a lot. But
Yeah, we can't be afraid to open doors. That's a lesson that
yeah,
it
You
took
never
me too
know.
long to learn, but yeah, you just have to start doing things and
Mhm.
you listen to all these crazy stories about people that we maybe look up to, and it's just the stories that they're telling, just like you. Yeah, I just walked up and I said, "Here's
yeah.
what's gonna happen."
And I would never ever really do that. Because I know what it's like to be on stage and have somebody come up to you and be like, "Can I get up and sing?" Can I get
Right.
up?" It's just weird.
Yeah,
And I would never,
and I'm like, "Go get
do
your own
that.
stage."
yeah, I would never do that, just because it puts everybody in an awkward position.
Right.
But that night it worked out,
Yeah.
and so we played, a ton on the weekends the entire time I was in college, and I just remember any time that I've ever been on a stage like that where I can just let go.
Yep.
I feel like most people would be uncomfortable in front of that many people, but I don't. I feel
Yeah.
so at home in that spot, in that space.
Yeah.
And I forget that until I get to do it again. And then I remember I'm like, oh my God, I'm home. Like this is awesome. Just thrashing around and
Totally.
tapping my tambourine and doing all, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And I always feel so good and like myself when I'm in that position.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I definitely get that. I feel very similar on a stage for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing is, what are you doing next, and where can we find everything?
Yes, of course. So all of my socials are Carlyle Griffin Music. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then I'm Carlyle Griffin on Spotify, Apple Music. All my songs are there. As for what's next, so Say So just came out on Friday, a couple days ago. I'm very, very proud of her. I don't know what I'm going to do next. In my brain, I would really like to put out some sort of like small EP, little acoustic EP, very bare bones and simplistic. And I have a ton of stuff that I've been writing lately that I really love, and I want to share it. And but it's hard, as an independent artist to kind of put things out in a way that you should, and it gets expensive, and it's the whole thing. So you kind of got to figure out what's the best way to do it. And this is a singles economy, so EPs don't always hit like they should. But I just want to put some more stuff out there that I think people are really gonna like, and I love, and want to share. So that's what I hope is next.
Cool.
We may be doing another single instead or first, but I don't know. We're gonna ride this one out first.
Definitely.
And then we're gonna start to focus on what we're gonna do next. So
perfect.
Possibilities are endless.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Yes,
this has been so lovely.
It's so fun.
And I always love chatting with you. And everybody go and get her single, Say So, on all the platforms. We'll link all of the things so you can find out what Carlyle is up to next.
That's right.
And thank you so much for tuning in to In Tune with Alison Park.